In today's news, BVI residents peeved over loss of business to the USVI. Former Education Minister and Tourism Director weigh in. Mrs. Sharon Flax-Brutus says our industry is in trouble and our leaders can't even see it. Opposition leader, the Honorable Marlon A. Penn, says we have to be ready, open our seaports, and strengthen our COVID-19 protocols. CIBC First Caribbean Bank named Bank of the Year at BVI Finance 2020 Financial Services Awards. Commission of Inquiry team back in the BVI, and 29 jets of major carriers land in USVI Daily. We're going to get into this and so much more after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 News. Welcome everybody. It's Thursday, April 8th, 2021. A terrific Thursday to one and all, especially to our viewers tuning in across the region. We're so happy to have you. Good evening. I'm Ron Grant. Thanks for tuning in. Beginning on the local scene here in the British Virgin Islands. In a recent Facebook post, former Education Minister Myron Walwyn recalled a conversation with a U.S. Virgin Islander, which he said gave extreme cause for concern. The post read, and I quote, "I just had an extensive conversation with a friend who works closely with the Tourism Authority in St. Thomas, and he said to me, with the broadest smile ever, Myron, I love you guys and I love the BVI, but I do hope that you take a little while longer to get it together tourism-wise. Myron, even if you had a dog kennel in St. Thomas, you would be able to get it rent once it could lock." Now, he continued, "You cannot find a car to rent on this island, and I cannot recall the last time that our business people have made so much money." The former education minister also stated, and I quote, "Of course, we discussed the health and economic balance, which St. Thomas seems to have a good understanding of." Meanwhile, back in the BVI. Now, in a response, many responses to the post, scores of BVI lenders joined in on the conversation, including former director of the BVI Tourist Board, Mrs. Sharon Flax-Brutus, who said, and I quote, "This is what happens when there is no leadership from a tourism perspective. I get that we are safe, and that we are in a transformational leadership, but where is that transformational leadership we are hearing about all the time? Tourism is rudderless, and those who are in the wheelhouse don't know how to steer us through the waves. I'm saddened to see that every other week another nail or screw goes in. Now we are hearing that test results may take up to 48 hours, which may mean 6 days in quarantine. I will say it again without apology. Our industry is in trouble and our leaders can't even see it." Another resident shared, "My college colleague on St. John said businesses are complaining that there is too much business." One BVI lender stated, "We make choices that 24 others may not be in agreement with. Through pain and suffering probably doesn't matter to most of us looking on from a distance. Our government," he said, "takes a different view. I happen to believe that they are doing what they believe to be best for our country. I respect that. Of course, I could be mistaken. And also, there is also maybe a better way." Now, the dialogue between residents continued, of course, but the topic, once again, of losing countless business to the U.S. Virgin Islands seems to be of paramount importance. For decades, BVI lenders have stated that the BVI economy continues to lose to the USVI, and in this case, the present pandemic has proven to be no different. BVI lenders are upset that during these difficult times, the BVI is not in a position to hold on to pretty much any of the tourism revenue at all, but losing all of its clients to the USVI. Marine expert Andrew Ball stated in a prior interview that it is not impossible for these clients to return to the BVI, and while this sentiment may be true, it does seem as though we are taking a huge risk. Now, looking closely over at the situation in the USVI, The VI Consortium has reported that the U.S. Virgin Islands is seeing on average 29 new arrivals of the major airlines daily, with the split overwhelmingly favoring St. Thomas 24 to 5. That's on average 2,500 people into the U.S. territory daily. Most of them tourists, as Americans have been traveling in large numbers during spring break, with passenger volume reaching its highest in a year, according to the Wall Street Journal. Now, the pent-up demand for U.S. travel comes as many international destinations remain closed, such as the BVI, with tourist travel between the U.S. and Europe very limited. Now, according to data provided by the VI Port Authority, St. Thomas sees 24 major airlines daily, while St. Croix is averaging 5. The breakdown is as follows: St. Thomas, Delta 7, Spirit 3, American 8, United 2, JetBlue 3, and Frontier 1. St. Croix, American 3, Spirit 1, Delta 1. Now, according to USVI Port Authority officials, jets at the Cyril E. King Airport are waiting in line to take off seemingly to the extremely busy airports on the mainland. Sometimes the jets, they say, wait 25 or more minutes on the tarmac before a gate can be cleared because of the high traffic. Now, the increased demand is creating problems for VI Ports Authority, but Executive Director Carlton Dowie described the strain as a good problem that the VI Ports Authority is managing. Now, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recently eased travel restrictions for people fully vaccinated against COVID-19, stating that inoculated individuals can travel safely without putting themselves at risk as long, they said, as they continue to wear masks and take other safety precautions. Now, the announcement follows recent data from studies showing that COVID-19 vaccines have proven effective in real-world conditions at reducing the risk of infection. But the CDC continues to deter travel, pointing to an ever-growing list of variants and rising COVID-19 cases in the U.S. and around the world. They said it's our responsibility at the CDC to look at the evolving evidence at the CDC and what is lower risk to when you are fully vaccinated. Director Rochelle Walensky said Friday, "I would advocate against general travel overall." Now, how the influx of tourists to the USVI will impact the territory's COVID-19 fight is yet to manifest. The VI Department of Health continues to urge safety and said while new variants had not yet been detected locally, they would eventually arrive. Last month, Department of Health Territorial Epidemiologist Dr. Esther Ellis said, and I quote, "If you are not fully vaccinated, you cannot take your guard down at this time. The recent increase in new cases is a reminder that you must be vigilant when you are outside your household, especially if you live with someone who is elderly." Now, she encouraged residents to continue wearing masks, washing hands, and socially distancing, adding, "The quicker we can get the territory vaccinated, the quicker we can get past this very long year." Now, of course, the latest COVID-19 data provided by the Department of Health in the USVI reflects April 1st statistics showing that 58 total cases, led, of course, in St. Thomas by 29, followed by St. Croix with 28, and on St. John, just one active case. Governor of the USVI, Albert Bryan, has been asked on a number of occasions about the impact of tourists on the territory relative to COVID-19. But Mr. Bryan has said Virgin Islanders were the ones spreading the disease locally. He once pointed to a wedding of Virgin Islanders that took place in Florida and said some persons who attended and returned to the territory brought with them the virus. Now, the governor has also blasted entertainment events, saying, and I quote, "At least one wedding in Florida that we are tracking, there are already 4 individuals who have tested positive for COVID-19. Mr. Bryan said during a press briefing. He continued, "These are Virgin Islanders who have traveled abroad, contacted the virus, and brought it back home here to the Virgin Islands to their friends and family. I don't know what people are thinking. Parties in the middle of the night, charter activities, it just has to stop." The governor added, toning his voice to convey the seriousness of the matter. Now, for its part, the VI Department of Tourism has lauded the increase in air travel and stated in a release issued Saturday that it plans to elevate its marketing efforts, believe it or not, a move aimed at attracting even more visitors to the USVI with positive developments related to travel trends, the growing availability of COVID-19 vaccines, and demand for USVI getaways. Department of Health and Tourism has strongly charged to boost their local economy with sales, marketing, advertising, and public relations activities. Mr. Boschetti said tourism represents 60% of the USVI gross domestic product, according to the Department of Tourism. Now, while our brothers and sisters over in the USVI continue to make strides, of course, local persons, residents, and stakeholders continue to fight to keep the local economy afloat, which they are saying it's growing wary. Now, still ahead, viewers, opposition leader Marlon A. Penn says we have to be ready, open our seaports, and strengthen our COVID-19 protocols, as well as we see CIBC First Caribbean Bank named Bank of the Year at the BVI Finance 2020 Financial Services Award. All this and so much more after return from a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 News.
The win.
What in the hell?
I'm freaking out.
Is about these people.
It's always a pleasure coming to you live and direct from the
What's poppin'? What's really good?
Davis has won it for the
Gentlemen, aspiring gentlemen, and our partners that hold us down. It's season 2 of The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, taking you on the most inspiring journey with the best and brightest distinguished gentlemen of the BVI Raw, real-life lessons that translate to grounded, community-minded, well-rounded men like you've never seen them before. Governor Augustus J.U. Jaspert, Jovan Klein, Neil Klein, and so much more. Turning modern-day men into 21st century distinguished gentlemen with yours truly, Ron Grant, a 284 Media production. Viewers, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. You're watching 284 News out of Tortola in the beautiful British Virgin Islands. Here on the local scene, Leader of Her Majesty's loyal opposition, the Honorable Marlon A. Penn, said, and I quote, "We have to be ready to open our seaports. We have to learn to live, work, and manage with COVID-19. Speaking on the April 15th scheduled reopening of our seaports, Honorable Penn said, and I quote, "We cannot afford another false start." He expressed that the previous 2 postponements, in other words, the constant false starts, stem from the administration's lack of thorough planning to effectively manage the reopening of our seaports and reflects poorly on the BVI and the damages of our global image. Now, he mentioned that there are many persons across the territory of the Virgin Islands who have been unemployed and underemployed for over a year now due to the pandemic, and that these persons cannot afford to continue undergoing such undue hardships. Therefore, we must open our seaports, he says, and get our economy moving. In addressing the plan to have ferries operating from the Cyril B. Rumney Tortola Pier Park, Honorable Penn said persons living on the sister islands may not benefit from its change, often shipping bulky items to the sister islands via our ferry services. This, he says, may prove to be a nightmare for those persons, adding to the difficulty already experienced in finding parking and a designated on and off loading location at the Tortola Pier Park. Now, adding to a potential logistics issue, Penn further expressed his fears that the lack of an operational jetty at the West End ferry, along with ferrying persons into Road Town, can have an adverse effect on the Jos Van Dyke economy. Now, businesses on the sister islands are vitally on life support, he says, and the livelihood of the businesses and their owners and their employees would be at stake. Now, Penn stated that preluding the opinion of taking the ferry to and from West End might deter visitors from traveling to the sister islands of Jos Van Dyke, where many of the businesses depend as heavily on tourism, noting that the current administration had 2 years to ensure a fully functional West End jetty be made a priority. Now, the opposition leader encouraged the Premier to ensure the necessary resources, equipment, and systems are put in place to facilitate the reopening of our seaports and to open our territory on a larger scale to visitors. Honorable Penn stated his expectation for government is to be more effective in its policy decisions as it relates to the reopening of our territory. Now, viewers, Honorable Penn continued by saying and reiterated that he and his colleagues on the opposition continue to express that this administration has proven that there is no plan in place for the economic recovery of these Virgin Islands. The opposition leader further stated that the opposition members continue to offer suggestions, but both privately and publicly, to the current administration in an effort to help navigate the territory of the Virgin Islands through the global pandemic COVID-19 crisis on behalf of the people of the British Virgin Islands. In conclusion, Honorable Penn said that he continues to urge the government to present a plan focused on the economic recovery and growth of this territory. Now, on some very positive news, CIBC First Caribbean Bank was named Bank of the Year at the BVI Finance 2020 Financial Services Awards event, which took place on Saturday, March 27, 2021, at the H. Lively Stout Community College, Tortola. The FSA statue was presented to Mr. Simon Gray, Business Development Marketing Manager from the BVI Finance, and that was presented to Mr. Omri Jarvis, the new BVI Country Manager to CIBC First Caribbean Bank. This award, they said, is a testament to the hard work done by our entire team. COVID-19 challenged us to find new and creative ways of doing business and meeting the needs of our clients in an environment that was literally changing from day to day. Mr. Jervis said that he accepted the award and thanked the industry and community for the nomination and votes of acknowledgement of all the nominees in, of course, his category. Our bank, he said, through our mantra on loans and other payments, has sought to cushion the impact of the pandemic on many of our clients who have reached out to us. We will continue to work with them to tailor solutions we see them safety and see them through this season of testing. Now, the bank, which is celebrating 100 years in the Caribbean, has been in service in the BVI community since 1965, when it first opened its doors at the Barclays Bank. Following a merger with CIBC in 2002, First Caribbean was created and later rebranded as CIBC First Caribbean. We are very much a part of the history, the fabric and social and economic development of the BVI, and we will continue to serve our clients and the community with pride, Mr. Jervis said. Now, the Financial Services Awards were presented to successful nominees in 12 other categories in the industry for Best 2021, including Corporate Social Responsibility, Regulator, Tech-Savvy Firm, Insurance Agency, Auditor, Accounting Firm, Insolvency Practice, Litigation Practice, Compliance Officer, Lawyer, Corporate Service Provider, and Future Leader. And congratulations, we want to say to each and every one of the winners in the variety of categories. And thank you to the BVI Financial Services Commission, who have chosen to really honor stalwart persons throughout our community for their exceptional work, particularly during these very difficult times. Continuing on the local scene, the commissioner arrived back in the BVI on Thursday, April 1st, with Mr. Stephen Chandler, secretary to the Commission of Inquiry, and Mr. Andrew King, observing, of course, their 14-day quarantine. All three are following these protocols, and following their return, the COI team will continue with the information gathering and production of documents stage for the Commission of Inquiry. Now, further members of the Commission of Inquiry team are expected to join the commissioner this month a bit later. The commissioner is currently considering holding some initial hearings in the BVI in late April and early May. The commissioner will publish rules to regulate and conduct the management of the COI's hearings later this week. Now, in the meantime, the commissioner continues to encourage anyone who believes that they have information that may assist the inquiry who has not yet submitted it to do so to the COI, to submit the information directly to the COI as soon as possible via the secure website portal www.bvipublicinquiry.uk, as well as the website portal. The COI has provided a number of different and other resources and ways for individuals to share information with the inquiry team, including a dedicated email address. Now, we would all know that the UK presented the COI and is really to conduct and was announced on January 18th, 21 to look into whether corruption, abuse of office, or other serious dishonesty may have taken place amongst public, elected, and statutory officials in recent years. The commissioner, that is, the Honorable Sir Gary Hickerburn was sworn in on the 22nd of January and continues to work on the Commission of Inquiry here in the British Virgin Islands. Now, leaders and persons who not necessarily are in favor of this particularly have, however, encouraged persons in the community to come forward, and the government of the Virgin Islands continues to say that they support the Commission of Inquiry and encourage persons to come forward with any information. Viewers, still ahead, opposition leader issues another statement saying that we must strengthen our COVID-19 protocols, and we're looking closely at the hurricane season 2021. Brace yourself for another above normal year, says forecasters. And of course, we have the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force weekly arrest blotter, all up next after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 News. Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Viewers, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Continuing on, the leader of Her Majesty's Loyal Opposition, Honorable Marlon A. Penn, said the public relations campaign around the vaccine and the rollout program has proven a failure. The leader of the opposition said that the government has proven there is no plan in place for the safety to navigate COVID-19 in our territory, now stating that the government was well aware of the donation of vaccines and their expected arrival date. However, the ball was dropped, he said, as the public relations campaign ensued only after the arrival of the vaccine in the territory. Honorable Penn said, and I quote, "There are a lot of myths and misconceptions surrounding the vaccine and getting vaccinated. This is a clear indication that a more in-depth conversation about the vaccine and its benefits to persons and the wider community is greatly needed." Now, while expressing his support for vaccination, the opposition leader said he recognized it is only one of many tools to fight COVID-19 and rebound from the pandemic. He further added, a strong educational campaign is needed to reach persons who may not be on social media or even tune into the various radio programs. He said lack of planning and policy continue to plague the administration, and while we recognize that the vaccine is not a silver bullet, it is imperative that a plan be put in place to live, work, and manage COVID-19 in our territory. Noting the global shortage on vaccines, Penn said, and I quote, "I am hopeful that our vaccines do not go to waste and we are able to utilize all of the donations received." Among the issues surrounding vaccination, the opposition leader also cited major issues with the current COVID-19 protocols. Reports have been received of failed devices along with persons leaving the mandatory quarantine with absolutely no alerts from the device and no phone calls from security or health personnel. The security process for persons testing positive for the virus therefore needs to be strengthened, he said, to ensure safety not only for those persons in particular, but for the wider public. He said the current tracking system being utilized in the territory has proven inadequate. As it currently stands, the security mechanisms being used needs to be revisited, and government needs to reintroduce proper technology that will work as security, providing immediate alerts, resulting in the dispatch of a rapid response team for persons who breach quarantine and or the protocols. In addition, the opposition leader addressed the territory's current testing protocols, emphasizing that he said is an urgent need for the resources at the Dr. D. Orlando Smith Hospital to be strengthened to effect a quicker turnaround time so that persons can receive their COVID-19 test results in a timely manner. He said, "We need to avoid having persons out in public not properly knowing their status, thus resulting in widespread panic." He continued, saying recommendation that a lab and testing capacity be implemented on the sister islands of Virgin Gorda, where the island is a major hub for tourism. When we open these seaports, we will surely see an influx in visitors to Virgin Gorda, and we do not want to inconvenience tourists to come to Tortola for testing, the opposition leader stated. Now, opposition leader went on to recognize the tireless, hardworking public health officials working on the front lines, working overtime and oftentimes going above and beyond the call of duty. He said, "We appreciate those persons for their selflessness and all they do to safeguard our families, visitors, community, and of course the health of the wider territory." Penn expressed. Honorable Penn reiterated that he and his colleagues in the opposition continue to really support the administration for the betterment of the territory of the Virgin Islands and provide solutions. He also added that he continues to urge the government to present a plan focused on the economic recovery. Now, on to some very important news across the region. The 2020 year marked the busiest hurricane season on record with 30 named storms, surpassing 2005's 27. Now, for those who were expecting a calm after the storm, AccuWeather forecasters are predicting yet another above normal season in 2021, though not as busy as 2020, and they are urging that prone areas be impacted by the hurricane and should be prepared. A normal season is considered to have 14 storms, 7 hurricanes, and 3 major hurricanes. Last year, 13 hurricanes formed, and 6 of those reached the major hurricane threshold. The AccuWeather forecaster, led by a veteran meteorologist Dan Kowalski, predicted that the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season will result in 16 to 20 named storms, including 10 who are going to be named hurricanes. Of these storms projected to reach hurricane strength, 3 to 5 are predicted to become major hurricanes, Category 3 or higher storms that have maximum sustained winds of 111 miles per hour. Now, in terms of the number of storms that will directly impact us here in the British Virgin Islands, USVI, Puerto Rico, and U.S. mainland, 3 to 5 are expected, according to Kowalski's team. The annual average number of direct impact is 3.5, according to the forecast. Now, current indications are that this will be another above normal season. Mr. Kowalski, who is in his 45th year of issuing forecasters for AccuWeather, said this can translate into high impacts on the United States. Now, according to the release, to come up with the forecast, Kowalski and his team examined current weather patterns, then studied long-range climate models to make determination about what will happen during the heart of the season in August, September, and early October. Now, there are several key factors that will influence the upcoming season, which are including water pressure. The AccuWeather said one of the determining factors is how the season will shape up in the El Nino southern isolation area, and is defined simply as a short-term climate fluctuation that is determined by warming or cooling of the waters in the central and eastern Pacific Ocean. When the water is equatorial in the Pacific and warmer than average. Now, an El Nino is typically declared. When the reverse is true, it's known as an La Nina. Now, viewers, we know that we are dealing with a global pandemic that is COVID-19, but we also want to bring awareness to make sure that persons are aware that it is high time that we begin securing our property as we are approaching in a few months, the Hurricane 2021 season. This, of course, happens every year, but we want to make sure that persons are secured and that while we're dealing with the pandemic, we're not again dealing with lack of preparation and security as it pertains to our lives and livelihood. Now, troubling signs are already emerging in the Western Atlantic, according to Kowalski, and sea surface temperatures are above normal, which would continue to support his claims that we will have an active season. Now, as of March 29th, water temperature off Key West, Florida was around 81.5 degrees Fahrenheit, which is above the 5 degrees above normal. Yet the remains of the far above city normal, yet the remains say that they will again be having a high temperature of 87.8 degrees in that area. The one exception is the western Gulf of Mexico, where water temperatures at the end of March were cooler than normal. And again, we will continue to monitor, and we wish you all the best as we all continue to traverse through these very difficult times. Viewers, that is all the time we have today. Thank you so much for sticking with us and following our daily newscast, both locally, regionally, and internationally. We wish you all a happy Thursday and a good rest of the evening. Good evening. I'm Ron Grant. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye-bye.